Hello and welcome to Find Bliss Within podcast. This is a series of becoming a better parent, and today we have a very special guest, Genevieve from USA, Minnesota, joining us today.
Hi, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. Genevieve is a life activation practitioner, healer, teacher, and a guide in a modern mystery school. And today we'll be exploring how the ancient tools helps us in our life to live better life, more fulfilled and joyous life. Genevieve, would you like to share with our listeners when did you start your journey of self-discovery, self-mastery? What was calling and how did you find mystery school?
Yeah, so this was many years back now. I had gone to college to get an English degree, and I was working in a software company doing technical writing, and I ended up wanting to also become a helicopter pilot. And so I'd moved to California to pursue my pilot's license while working for a software company and really just like trying to figure out my place in the world and what I wanted to do. And over the first year of that, I ended up deciding not to pursue my pilot's license. So I did about 3 months of training and then was really like, okay, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go with this? And really searching. And I heard the term mystery school. Um, I moved back to Minnesota and I heard the term mystery school, and I was just really intrigued by, what is a mystery school? Like, I didn't even know that existed. And there was a lot of things within myself where I was like, I need to get my own kind of self in order to kind of take that next step in my life. And so I just felt kind of called to it, that it was like, okay, there's something here for me. And so I started with the Empower Thyself class, and in those 2 days I experienced the energy of that, where it was like I felt something that was going on there, where I felt almost like more expansive and felt more like myself than I had felt before. It felt like it brought a lot of clarity within myself and understanding who I am. And what really got my attention about that was it wasn't just like those 2 days feeling good and then going back to my life the way that it was before. It was, there were tools that I learned in those 2 days that I continued to work with. And, 3 months down the line, my baseline in my life had dramatically up leveled, where my normal was at a much higher level than it was before. And I was able to be more balanced and I had more clarity. I just had a stronger knowing of what was going to be in alignment with myself and like knowing myself more and like, okay, this is the right next move for me. And with the challenges that were coming up in my life, having tools to be able to navigate them from a place that felt much more calm and balanced, and not like I was getting thrown thrown about by whatever was going on in my life. I was much more centered as I approached my life. And my whole first year of exploring within the Modern Mystery School, because of that experience, I kept going back and was like, well, what else can I learn? What else can I receive? And so I continued learning for the first year, whatever I could. And in that experience, so much shifted within my life that I was like, okay, this is something that's really special. And I wanted to keep learning more. And when I feel like the key piece, it's like so much of the time I was looking for something outside of myself to help me feel better or to help me have, answers. And what the mystery school path did for me was really helping me to uncover that within myself, to like it not give me the answers, how much I wanted somebody to just tell me who I am and tell me what my purpose is. It wasn't that at all. It was about giving me tools for me to like have that aha moment for myself and have that clarity for myself that felt so empowering. And then having the tools to deal with whatever challenges were coming up from a way that I often talk about on this path. It's about the results or the fruits that you have in your life. And the results were so dramatic that I was like, okay, this is something really special, and I wanted to be able to share that. So I continued on the path to be a life activation practitioner and now a guide, to be able to share these tools, because when we're trying to change things from the outside in, it doesn't really work, because the inner is still, whatever is going on, we're going to keep those same patterns. But when we can really shift or heal on the inner, then the external shifts with it. And that was, I had this aha moment, like that's the key. And so it really was dramatic in my experience. And now being able to share that with others, it's really consistent in how these tools work. And it's really been a gift.
So beautiful. I think it is such a special thing to remember that actually sometimes maybe we might perceive spirituality incorrectly or mystery path, thinking that we, studying something external, but actually we studying ourselves and coming back. I like to refer to it, coming back home to our true essence. So then we can create from within, without what we
Yeah.
really desire and want and who we are.
Yeah. I think of healing is like letting go of all the things that get in the way of being who you really are. And this path helped me to recognize all the patterns, all the kind of conditioning or subconscious programming that I had taken on as I lived my life that came from the external. I was programmed from the outside in, and there was a disconnect between who I thought I was and then who I really was. And it helped me to really let go of so much of that to really live more who I was. And with that came peace within myself, came joy within my life. It was just and such a gift. And then from there, I felt like, okay, now I can do more in the world because I have this really strong foundation to stand on within myself that helps me show up in the world in a better way, in a stronger way, in a more consistent way.
Amazing, amazing. And how the tools helped you actually, or are they helping you actually, being a mom because you have two beautiful children. Um, do you find application of the tools and the path as a mother, as a parent?
Yeah, definitely. I don't, it'd be hard to imagine going onto the path of motherhood without having these tools. They've helped me so much. And yeah, I have a daughter who's going to be 4 soon in a couple months, and my son will be 2 in a couple months. So I have 2 little ones. And yeah, just I feel like I mentioned, this path has really helped me to have more peace within myself, more balance within myself. And motherhood is, very challenging at times, and especially dealing with little ones, they can be a lot. It demands a lot of energy and attention, and um, it stretches you. And I feel like these tools have really helped me to be able to, find that balance in the midst of whatever chaos is going on, because there can be a lot of chaos, and to be able to stay calm. And then my children will be more calm. They'll experience that. It's like they learn from me, and I've been able to model something for them, that I don't think I'd be able to do consistently if I didn't have these tools to help support me and to be able to, um, yeah, and the healing work that I've done leading up to becoming a mom on this path has helped me as well to be able to recognize like when my buttons are getting pushed and to be able to push the pause button and not react from an emotional place, but to be calm and to be able to manage myself and my energy so that I'm able to bring forward, the best part of myself in my response to my kids when they need that, because they need a lot of patience and they need a lot of understanding because they're toddlers. They're not, I can't expect them to act with reason, and so it's helped me to really show up and to give them what they needed rather than getting my buttons pushed and reacting from an emotional place. And that's also been, I think, something that's been healing for me too, and like being able to show up for them and really, yeah, loving them in giving them the love that they need in those moments, in those difficult moments. It's really beautiful, and I don't know, it's helpful for my own inner child to receive that as well and to be able to share that. So yeah, it's been a game changer, I would say.
Beautiful. I sometimes, my clients sometimes come and they struggle with that, giving to their kids, and that there is the frustration, the tiredness, and maybe confusion, even, that maybe they don't love the kids or they hate them. But it's really from what you're saying, is this what is important to that self-nurturing part, to really take care of ourselves, to really fulfill ourselves, to know ourselves, to heal those parts, so then we can, from this higher level, show up for our kids.
Yeah, yeah. Doing the work for yourself is going to benefit your kids so much. And that's something that I find on this path. Like, even like for me, I found something that really is meaningful for me in my life and brings me a lot of joy. And, there's a Hermetic teaching that you can't give what you don't have. And so if I want to share joy with my kids, I need to have joy for myself. And if I want to create peace in my home, I need to have peace within myself. And so, yeah, that's a foundational thing is we need to create that for ourselves if we want to share that with our kids or with our family. And, as a mom, you're really the leader in your family of creating that. And so it's crucial, I would say. And also like modeling that, it's good to pursue your joy in life. It's good to pursue something that gives you a sense of purpose. And if I didn't have that, then it's hard for me to teach my kids that this is something that's important for them. I want them to have joy in their life. I want them to have a sense of purpose in their life. And if I can model that and make that a priority for myself as well, then they'll learn that. And of course, they're still a priority. They're the highest priority, but it's not in conflict with my joy and my purpose. Like they're a part of that, but it's not just being a mom. There's more to me than just being a mom. And I want to teach my kids, the full expression of who they are and to model that for them by having a life that is exploring all the aspects of who we are and being able to share more with them because I'm filling my cup and taking care of myself and bringing joy into my life. And the self-care piece is really important because um, if you're running on empty and you're trying to give and give and give, you're going to burn out. And if you, wherever you can find those little things that fill your cup, even if it doesn't have to be, you know, completely transforming your day-to-day life, but finding those little things, whether it's, getting enough sleep, finding a little bit of time to meditate, whatever it is, um, it makes a huge difference in how then you can show up for your kids and your family. And I think the big piece I mentioned, like being able to stay balanced when things get chaotic is something I'm so grateful that this path has helped me to do. It's not that I'm not perfect, but really it's tremendously, given me you know, much more than I would without these tools and without this path. And I mean, that just sets the tone for your whole family and for your kids and where they can feel safe and really trust that you're going to be able to guide them through whatever comes up and having that trust in you. And so, yeah, that I'd say that's like such a gift to give yourself is to do that self work of really healing and the tools on this path are so specialized in this to be able to stay balanced amid the chaos of life, whether you're a parent or not. But especially as a parent, it comes up, you're stretched a lot, and there's so many things outside of your control. And so being able to stay middle pillar or stay balanced in the face of that, it's like being superpower. It's a superpower that really is uh, important, I think, as a parent.
Such a beautiful gift to our kids to create that safe, nurturing space for them. And you mentioned the healing and the healing of the self, and that kind of leads me to the next question I want to ask how the path really allows us to heal those cracks, maybe that inner child. There's so much about inner child up there, but like, what does it really mean to heal the inner child and in a way reparenting ourselves? Because once we grow up, we cannot anymore, point the fingers on our past. It's time for us to take responsibility for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, you know, healing, you know, we as we grow up, oftentimes we grow up physically, but we don't always grow up in all aspects. And there's parts of ourselves from our experience as a child where it's like we have these hooks where when something happens in our life, it causes us to react because there's something unresolved that we haven't healed. And this path, for me, the path of initiation and Kabbalah ascension really was a big part of this for me. Um, it allowed me not just from like a psychological perspective, but alchemically on a soul level to really clean up the distortions where I was where those cracks in the foundation were for me to have my buttons pushed to really pull myself off balance. I think of healing is it's not about changing who you are, but letting go of all the things that get in the way of really being who you are. And so like that external programming that comes in as you live your life, you're told like this is what it means to be a good person, or just the subconscious patterns that you have, and you think like, oh, if I do this, then that's not good. And so I have to fit into this box to be successful or to be whatever it is. It's like we create a box that we have to stay in. And when we put so much energy into being that person. And sometimes there's a disconnect between who we think we need to be and who we are. And so we judge ourselves or we sh have shame because I'm not that person all the time, 100% of the time. And yeah, I think that's like having the ability to really one to recognize who you really are and what and let go of the things that aren't you, to accept yourself and really love yourself as you are. Because when you can love yourself, even if you're not perfect, because we're not perfect, but if you can love yourself including your imperfections, you're invincible. Because even if someone says like, "Hey, you're not perfect," it's like, I know, and I still love myself. And it's like nothing can get you off, can get under your skin. And so, yeah, that healing, I would say it's like really loving yourself on a deeper level, accepting yourself fully. Not that there's not room to grow, because there is, you're not perfect. There's always room to grow. And so, but despite that, I can still love myself the way that I am right now. And then from that foundation, now I can receive information, I can receive feedback, and I'm not going to be cringing for like the pain of it hurting me because I'm not perfect, because I know I'm not perfect. So I can receive, like if you think of like feedback, if you've ever been in a situation where you get feedback and sometimes it can be hard to receive it because it hurts. But if you can really love yourself on a deeper level, you can hear that feedback and be like, okay, I can see maybe the wisdom here and I can take that into consideration and I can grow and learn from it. But if you're so focused on protecting yourself because it hurts, you're not going to hear anything and you're not going to grow. And so, yeah, I think that's a big part of healing is um, having those tools to really let go of those things that get in the way of really knowing yourself and loving yourself and accepting yourself fully. Because, um, yeah, that's the foundation we want to stand on so we can actually grow in our lives and move closer towards living as our greatest self.
Mm. Oh, that's so important. I think so much time, so many times we spend lots of time seeking that external approval and validation, and yet the very validation and approval we seek is from ourselves to be truly allowing ourselves, like, to know we are lovable and we are enough the way we are. And yes, we are progressing and we growing, but to recognize who we are and that essence versus seeking that external. approval and validation. How much energy can be wasted on that and take
Yeah.
away from our true, direction where we want to go in life.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're waiting for something outside of you to give you validation that you are loved or you are worthy or you are whatever, um, you're always going to be seeking that. You'll always feel that discontent or that emptiness. But when you can really, I keep saying to know yourself because it's true. You like to know who you really are, to accept yourself, and with that, you can't help but love yourself because you are amazing and you are, beautiful and you are all these things. You are worthy. And so when you can fully accept and love yourself, it just brings so much joy to your life and being able to live your life alive and be like, oh, look at this amazing world that I get to explore in a way that is joyful because it's not as scary and full of the same I don't know, p pain that comes when you're constantly trying to protect yourself. So it's a key really to really living life fully alive and with joy is to love yourself and to accept yourself. And yeah, and when you have that validation from within yourself, you're free. You're free to live your life and pursue whatever you want to explore and do it in a way that brings tremendous joy and, purpose and really like going beyond what you even think is possible and creating something, bigger than maybe you thought you were capable of. You can only do that if you love yourself enough to give yourself the chance and to fail, to give yourself the chance to fail and to make mistakes. And that's how we do great things in this world. So it's really, it's a gift of freedom when you can really love and accept yourself deeply.
Mm. Yeah, just as you were talking, I just really imagine, this prison. Sometimes we keep ourselves this small cage, small box, and just like really allowing to explore life. Because what else can we create if we allow ourselves to be not perfect, and just go and do it anyway and learn, become greater at it? What can we give to this world? What can we create? Like how exciting that becomes.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, amazing. Oh my goodness. I know we're slowly coming to the end, but I want to ask one last question. Is there any tips you would have for someone who maybe is at the stage in life like, I want more. I'm not sure which way to go. Um, and they maybe not know yet what needs to be changed, but there's, that calling that maybe where they are right now, either is a work or relationship or help or finance, or the way how they show up as a parent. Like what would be the one tip you will give someone who is ready, seeking more, but not sure what to do?
Mm. I think the biggest thing is having that desire, like, okay, I know that there's more, but I don't know what to do. That's a great place to be because it means like you're open and you're ready to receive something more. And we talked about healing today, and the biggest thing with healing is, all healing is self-healing. So there's a willingness within yourself to change, to let go of what isn't serving so you can step more into who you are. And and so that's the biggest thing I would say is that readiness and willingness to say, okay, I'm ready to let go of what's not serving me so that I can really step into more of what will serve me, and to be open to trying something new, perhaps that you haven't tried before. And that's where I definitely recommend the Modern Mystery School tools that are specialized in helping people to really recognize not just from a psychological perspective, but really getting into the core of awareness from within. I talk about, on this path, you're not going to have somebody tell you who you are. You're not going to say, I wanted that. I wanted somebody to tell me who I am, and I wanted somebody to tell me what my purpose was. So I was like, just tell me. But that's not what this path is about. It's about giving you the tools to really excavate within yourself to come to that aha moment. And that's so meaningful because even if somebody tells you who you are and it's true, it's just a mental concept. It doesn't change your life. It doesn't really mean anything. It'd be like, oh yeah, that I believe that. That makes sense. But then I just go on my life the same that I always have. But when you have tools to like have that aha moment, like, oh my gosh, that's who I am. This you wake up to the reality of who you are and perhaps come to new awareness of patterns that you've been operating in, and the alchemy of the path helps to just shift and let it go and step onto a new foundation that's an elevated platform of operating in your life. And so like I shifted so much in that first year beyond, it's like I wanted this to shift in my life, and it's like this is what shifted because there's alchemy to it on a deeper level than just a psychological process. And so yeah, that willingness is the biggest thing. And just I would say to take that next step, talk to a guide within the Modern Mystery School and see like what is going to best serve you. But working with these tools, that's the biggest key. It's not just telling you who you are. It's not a belief system. It's not a religion. It's about tools that help you to come to that deeper awareness and clarity of who you really are so that you can let go of the things that aren't you. And with that comes more peace, comes more joy, comes more freedom. And we have so many tools that are specialized in helping people do that work of coming to know who they are and living in greater alignment with who they are. I think of the concept of your higher self as an example. Like, why am I not living as my higher self all the time? When I think about it, it's like, if I were to live as my higher self, it would be different from what I'm doing now. And if it were easy, we'd already be doing it. We'd already be living as our higher selves all the time. But we're not. And so something's going on. And that's what this path really helps is to bridge that gap for you to come to know who you are and to live more in alignment with, as you could say, as your higher self. And I think of like, that's who I want in the driver's seat in my life is my higher self. And so having tools to help bridge that gap is um it's priceless. It improves your whole quality of life and how you show up in your life and for the people that you care about in your life and how your day-to-day experience in the world. And so yeah, I'd say take that leap and explore that because it's such a gift.
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you, Genevieve.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.